And now I see that I was not ready. I was not the kind of person that could handle the goals I set for myself with the habits I had. I'm here to tell you my personal story of having when I quit my job. And spoiler alert, it probably didn't go like you think it did. So to first give you a little backstory, where I worked before, it was a salary job. There were extra like commission and bonuses here and there, but I had outgrown that place already. When I originally went there, it was exactly what I needed. But I loved it there. It was wonderful. It just got to a point where I had already learned what I had to learn, and I had to move on and grow. And I wanted to do it on my own. So I left that job, and shortly after, I went to this new place. I went on my own, and it was great. It was awesome. The first year, I earned a six-figure income. I got to do a bunch of cool stuff that I couldn't do before, because of money. I got to travel. I got to buy cool things. I got to help people in my family. It was great. It was great. And so that was in 2018. And I thought, okay, well, it went so well. Why don't I like really go off on my own? Like, get my own office and just, work for myself. Well, not by myself, but my partner and I. And we'll make double what we made last year. Why not? Because to be honest, that year that we made six figures wasn't really doing much. It was mostly referral business. It kind of just came in. So I thought, well, if I did that without really even trying a whole lot, imagine if we actually double down and do what we're supposed to do and try. We could easily double that, triple it, whatever. So 2019 came and a few months passed and nothing. And then it was the first quarter, nothing. And then it was halfway through the year and nothing. And that's when I realized, wow, I fucked up. Wow, yeah, this story started off great. I quit my job, I went off on my own, I did very well. There was a lot of mistakes I made. So if you are thinking about quitting your job, of doing something, this is not to scare you into not doing it. This is things for you to be mindful of before you do it. And I don't regret it. I mean, you're going to hear it at the end of this video, but you might as well hear it now too. I don't regret any of it because I'm glad this happened now. I'm glad I learned this lesson now versus further down the line when I could have lost a lot more, made a lot more mistakes that cost a lot more money. I'd rather learn what I learn now. So if you want to know the lessons I learned from quitting my job, then keep on watching. So the first thing I learned is that I have a tendency to just sit and put up with things. I've done that at my previous jobs where I wasn't happy for many months and I kind of just stayed there and dealt with it. And it was no different in this case. The first few months, I kind of went into it trying to do the same thing I did last year, which was not much, thinking that, calls are just going to come in. And no, that was a big mistake. The second you get comfortable, that's when you should be scared. And I know it sucks because you work hard and then you get the success and then you're getting the money, you're finally seeing the fruits of your labor. And all you want to do is just kick your feet up and ride that wave for a little bit, but don't do it. Don't do it. The second that you become complacent, that you become comfortable, that you feel like, okay, that's it, that's your biggest mistake right there. And I got very, very comfortable where I was, and I let that go on for way too long, for months. If I had stopped and realized, like, okay, this is not moving, I need to do something different, and had taken action, I probably wouldn't be here right now. So even though I was going through this rough patch, I guess you could say, financial trouble, I could have done something about it a lot sooner instead of just kind of sitting around and thinking like, okay, well, something's gonna change, or something's gonna happen. Like, no, I have to make it happen. Nothing's gonna just happen. I have to make it happen. The next lesson I learned, and it kind of has a lot to do with the first one, is that I became entitled. So what does that mean? That means that I thought that because I had, a year of great success, woo, and that was it for me. I didn't have to do much. So that means I didn't have to really work on the weekends. That means I didn't have to work after hours. I didn't have to take phone calls late. I could show up the hour I wanted. There was like little jobs, like other, I guess you could say, opportunities to make money, but it wasn't as much as I was normally making. Like I was turning them down because in my mind it was like, oh well, that's a waste of time. Why would I spend a time and make $200 there if I can focus on this and make $5,000? So all that was a mistake. And again, this kind of goes along the same lines. If I had just stopped and realized that this is not working, that I need to do something, I would have got another job or a side job, or I would have taken back, or I would have gotten, taken care of those small projects that maybe it's less money, but it's better than nothing. So I got entitled, and that's the lesson I want you to take, is that no matter what point you get in your success, You are not entitled. You are not entitled to not working hard. You're not entitled to not working on the weekends. You're not entitled to leaving the office early or getting in at the time you want. You're not entitled to sleeping in. You're not entitled to taking days off or just, not doing anything. You're not entitled to that. The second you think you made it already, the second you finally have room to breathe and you're like, okay, that should light a fire under your ass to keep going, because at any second it could be taken away. And before you know it, it's been months and it's not like before. That wouldn't have happened if you kept working. Now in retrospect, I'm like, well, of course this happened to me. I stopped working. I stopped doing anything. Of course this happened, Well, what else did I expect? It's not to say that you always have to do this. I do believe in delegating and hiring a team and making your business work for you instead of you for it. I do believe in systems and getting things to kind of just like run on their own so you don't always have to be there. But you as a person should always be working. That's the biggest one I learned is not underestimating just hard work, just plain hard work. The next lesson I learned was that apart from neglecting one of the most important things, which was my clients, my job, I also neglected my mind. What that means is in this span of time where money fell through, the clients fell through, it was dry, we weren't making anything, we were so nervous and scared and freaking out about what are we gonna do. My my whole state of my whole state of being dropped. I got depressed, and even that took me a while to recognize. And it was kind of one of those things where you'd go to work already in a bad mood because things aren't going well, and then you go there and you get bad news, and then you start thinking of negative things again, like, oh my god, this is so hard, this sucks, you suck, you see, you let this happen, why'd you let this happen? And then you feel bad, and then now you have no energy to do the stuff you're supposed to do that's going to get you out of this. So it's a really unending, awful circle that we put ourselves in. And perhaps if I had focused on that more, on being positive, on looking at the bigger picture, on focusing on it's gonna work, what can we do to turn this around, on getting creative, literally anything, and on the bad, we would have had more good than bad. And I have a video that explains more about this. It's called, I think, The Habits of a Positive Mindset. But yeah, it's, again, now that I am out of that and I look at it, I can totally see now how I was just adding to the bad situation. And sorry if I keep looking away. I'm really remembering, what I was going through to give you guys an honest experience of what it was like. It was a rough, almost a year. I'd say about a good 8 months. So it was a rough 8 months of just like not wanting to get up, dreading going to work, getting to work, hearing bad news again, just thinking of all the bad stuff and just focusing on that, going to bed worrying about it. And now that I like see what every day was like, I mean, of course I had no energy. Of course I, didn't want to do anything. That's probably the biggest lesson I can take away from this is getting your mind right, because if your mind's not right, um, you can even see a light in the tunnel and you want to work and you're motivated, it's just not going to happen. And now that I think of it, I was probably already kind of like this before, but because, things were going well and I had money and I had stuff, I didn't really notice it, because I was having fun. I was too busy having fun. And I didn't realize that I'm a negative person, that I was a negative person, that, I tend to focus on what I don't have, automatically write myself off and, say that's not going to work. I didn't notice these things before. And again, if I had noticed these things before, while I was already in a good state because everything else was going well, if I had worked on it, I probably would have been better equipped to deal with what was going to come. And that's, I think, the final lesson of all of this is now that I see everything that I've gone through and everything that I learned and why it happened, you have to understand the reason that this was so hard for me at the beginning was because I had really big goals for this year. I honestly, last year was the best I had ever done. I never thought at this age I'd make six figures. I thought it would take me a long time. And when I did, without really doing much, I was like, wow, imagine if I actually did what I'm supposed to do, So when I set these high goals for this year, I honestly did think I could do them, or at least get close. And now I see that I was not ready. I was not the kind of person that could handle the goals I set for myself with the habits I had. So with this year of failure, but it's more like lessons, showed me was that life has a very interesting way of giving you what you ask. And this year what happened was what I asked for. I asked for specific goals that were very high, but I would not be able to handle those goals or even achieve them if I didn't learn the lessons I had now. Because how am I going to achieve those things if I didn't work hard, if I felt entitled, if I didn't appreciate what I had, if I didn't focus on what I have, if I didn't learn to be creative, if I didn't learn to take action and move when we're stuck. There's a quote that I love that says, if I didn't make you uncomfortable, you wouldn't have moved to love the universe. And that's my mantra this year, because it's so true. And that's why they say you whatever you're going through is perfect. It's exactly what you're supposed to do. Is it a fucked up way to learn it? Sure, but I don't think I would have learned it any other way. We're stubborn human beings. I am a very stubborn person, and this was a very good way to get my attention, and it has my attention. And I've learned my lesson. I'm still learning my lesson. I'm changing things that I need to change, and I'm glad it happened because I only got better from it. So, long story short, if you guys are planning on quitting your job and going for the life you want, do it. Absolutely do it. Might you fail? Fuck yeah, you might fail. And might it be really hard? Yes. And might you cry? Yes. Might it take longer than you thought? Yeah. But I'd rather fail at something I love than be good at something that doesn't make me happy. And it doesn't mean you're always going to be happy. It doesn't mean you're going to be like, broke as fuck and happy. Like, well, at least I'm doing what I love. No, I'd be lying to you. I said that. For me, that wasn't true. There were many days that were very hard. There were many days that I felt like a complete failure, that I sucked, imposter syndrome, everything. But I'm glad it happened now. But that's life. I mean, it's mistakes. You cannot grow when you make mistakes. You can't learn when you're being successful. You only learn when you fuck up. So I hope you fuck up. I hope you fuck up a lot, because that means you're gonna grow. That means you're gonna get better. That means you're gonna improve. I hope you quit your job, and I hope you go for what you want, and I hope you fuck up a lot, because that means that you will succeed later. So it's come to my attention that a lot of you, not all of you, but a lot of you may be stuck. A lot of you may be unsure about quitting your job because maybe it's like a family thing, like a pressure thing. I know a lot of us don't want to disappoint our parents or our family, or maybe that supported us to get to a certain point. So that's gonna be my next video, is what to do when you feel you're letting your parents down. So make sure to keep an eye on that. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you heard, please hit the subscribe button, like this video, and comment below. What is your big why?